Anthony, I think Anthony's ready. Is he on deck?
I'm here.
What's up, Anthony?
Do you hear me?
I can. Now, can you tell me what state you're with? If you want to tell us your agency, please. If not, that's okay too.
Yeah, 44 PD in Pennsylvania.
What agency?
44.
44?
Yeah, F 2 words, FORTY, FORT.
Where you near? You like where's that
Wilkes-Barre,
near?
Wilkes-Barre, Scranton.
Oh, the Scranton area. Okay, cool. Nice, man. All right, so you're from the PA. By the way, that's like one of the only few states that you can actually call it by its initials, PA.
PA.
You never say you're from NV.
Yeah, no, it doesn't
You're from
work.
CA.
It doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
It only works in PA for the most part.
And I can feel the connection with you too already. The Anthony vibes going on.
Oh, the Anthony vibe is strong here. So what you got, my friend?
Well, last time I had a question, it was about Pennsylvania. It was a very complicated response, thanks to our state Supreme Court. Our agency just started doing inventory searches for vehicles. And one thing I haven't come across yet, but I'm not sure how to address it if it comes up, is what do you do when you get to locked containers in an inventory search?
Yep.
If we're there to secure valuables and make sure nothing's there is dangerous, is there a point where you start breaking into glove boxes that could contain valuables or be dangerous?
I love it. I have your answer.
I got a good question for you, Anthony. Just started.
Just started.
Just what do you mean in what regard?
Our department just got accredited a few months ago by the state agency, and we've never had an inventory policy before.
Now, when you say policy, but were you towing cars before that?
We were towing cars, and our tow company would do their own inventory for their own insurance purposes, but we wouldn't have anything to do with it.
Hey, look, I've heard of this. I've heard of this. I mean, but it's kind of rare, right?
Yeah, and that's a lot of where why we inventory comes from. Is to protect the citizen and their effects and the agency themselves. I'm sure that's the birth of your policy.
Yeah,
in that regard there.
Yeah, well, it's also they got accredited and they need policies on this stuff because it's so.
That's a lot of where the inventory comes from. Is what does your policy dictate? You know?
That's correct. So let me. You want me to take this, or you?
I'll give a little bit there.
Please.
Just so when you talk about we're getting into these. Okay, now all of a sudden we've got the lock box in the car here, right? And it's a straight inventory, right, Anthony? So there's no PC. No PC for a search of anything else. You're just straight inventorying the vehicle for whatever your policy is dictating. And that's one of the first things I want to talk about is if your policy says to tow, meet the criteria. And this will be just a quick sidetrack, and we'll get back to it here for everybody out there. Don't tow cars to get into them if you're trying to find evidence.
Yeah, be on the up and up.
The courts will see through it. You know,
they want good faith.
They want good faith. They'll look at your policies and say, well, you didn't meet that criteria. Okay. So that's just a little side note out there. But when we're talking about lockboxes, and Anthony, jump in here. I'm getting off track here. From what I've seen in the court cases, most of the courts are looking to the direction of the department policies when it comes to those lockboxes. And from what I've seen, if it's policy directed, when you get to this and you can open it per policy, they're good with it. If not, they expect you to keep it closed and then document in the fashion that it's in. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I have a few thoughts on this. I'm actually trying to look up the case. Sean or Amanda, do me a favor. Look up Florida versus Royer and tell me if I have that spelled correctly. That's an inventory case. Okay, so and correct me. I'll look in the chat. Okay, so a couple things real quick. So number one is according to South Dakota versus Opperman, 1976, Royer. I think it's Royer. I want to spell it Royer, but it's not quite like it's spelled, but it might be close. Florida versus Royer. Tell me if that rings a bell. And South Dakota versus Opperman says number one, we have to have good faith, and then we have this Florida case, and I think Sean, I can't see that, Rick. So tell me the name, Sean. I can't click on anything. It is Royer. Nice,
man.
Oh,
nice.
Fuck. Damn, I'm fucking hot shit.
You're just dealing the cases out tonight. Who wants a case? You get a case. You're on it.
So if I'm not mistaken, and Amanda and Sean, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Look at the case, but Florida versus Royer is the case that talks about inventories and policy, and that's exactly what you said. So the Supreme Court wants. Don't worry about it, Rick. I got it. The Supreme Court wants these inventories to be done by policy. Now, here is your answer to your question. Royer, if I'm not mistaken, is a locked container case. And they said that you can do it. You can open up locked containers if your policy says it. But I also got to tell you, if I was your chief, this is what I would say. I would write the policy to say this. We're only going to break open lock containers. Using a key is fine. You know, this is not a lock container. This has a latch on it, but if you go like this, it opens. Unzipping things is fine. But I'm talking about locked containers that would have to be broken into. I would not let my officers personally break people's stuff, property open, and break their property in order to inventory. I don't think it's reasonable. What are you going to do with the Louis Vuitton luggage that has a lock on it? You're going to rip open the leather. Right. I just would say, look, it's locked. It's not accessible. I would put that in my tow sheet, and I'm not breaking people's property. I think that's what they want. And yeah, can they have guns and drugs in there? Sure. But we're not doing a PC search anyway. So my hunch is irrelevant. I'm doing things on the up and up. So unless I would open the container, though, if I had reason to believe, I would just require reasonable suspicion type stuff. If I had reason to believe a dangerous item or an item of high value was in that locked container, if I had some reason to believe that because they said it or whatever, then I guess I would have to basically have my officers do what they need to do to secure it.
Right. Yeah.
But I would have that threshold. That's what I recommend. But there are agencies out there that do allow officers to break the property open as a matter of routine. And can I tell you something, my friend Anthony?
Go ahead.
Here's how it actually works out. Most of these officers actually don't break anything open because they feel kind of guilty about it, unless it's the tweaker, the drug dealer, the POS, but they're not doing it for the guy with the S500 with the locked glove box. So
I would imagine it's probably bigger agencies too, where, okay, if you've got to replace a glove box or something, it's a drop in the bucket for money for them. My agency, it would be expensive to replace a lot of damaged property.
It is. And it's just, in this, and maybe you talk to the people now. Actually, Sean is very, very astute here. I think he says you're talking about Florida versus Wales. That actually does make sense now. Sean, remind me what Royer was in a nutshell. What was Royer? So Royer, guess it must not be luggage. Oh, that is the brown paper bag case. Oh, airport. Okay, no, Wells is the brown paper bag. Wells is the brown paper bag. Okay, thank you. So I appreciate you. So anyway, that's kind of where I feel about it. And I just don't like it. And one other thing too is I'm like, Iowa does this where they basically try to get a waiver from people like, hey, do you want us to inventory your car? Yes or no? And if they say no, it's a waiver for liability. I personally like that. And I know we lose guns and drugs this way, but I just think that people, if you're looking at good faith and you're looking at helping people, maybe, or they tell you, I don't want you to search my car. I don't want you to inventory my car. I'm good. I don't know. I kind of see it both ways, but I don't mind agencies that do that either, especially if they tell you, leave my car here. I don't want you inventorying. I'll take the risk that my car will get vandalized on a public street.
Especially if it doesn't meet the policy criteria.
Yeah, exactly. But that's for another day. That's political policy, which is not really what we're here for. So that answers the first question.